I'm Brad Allen with Complete Guitar Lessons. Today we're going to be talking about bar chords. A little reminder, if you haven't done so, please subscribe to the channel because I put these up on a very regular basis and I don't want you to miss any of them. First of all, I want to say bar chords are a more advanced technique, or at least an intermediate guitar technique. So if you're a brand new student and you haven't played any guitar, I would say watch some of the other videos, learn to play some open position chords, some power chords, and come back to this later. But for those of you who have already learned some open position chords, you've been playing the guitar a little while and you want to learn to play bar chords and you've been struggling with these or just want to learn how to play them, this is the lesson for you. First thing, if you have a choice between learning this on an electric guitar or an acoustic guitar, it's easier to learn on an electric guitar. But regardless of what you have available, you can learn. Bar chords, basically what we're doing is we are taking the nut of the guitar, in essence, and moving it up the neck. So for instance, if I'm playing an E minor chord, an open chord, and you figure the nut, you have one fret here and then you have the nut, I can make that sound a half a step higher by playing it on the third fret with these two fingers, creating a bar with my finger. Okay. The whole idea is to be able to move these around the guitar. There's certain chords that are very hard to play without being able to do a bar. What I recommend, number one, start in about the middle of the guitar on the, let's say, the 7th fret. So that's the 3 dots from the end is the 7th fret. And the first thing I would try is play just 2 strings at a time. Now notice my finger is basically flat. Most of the time your standard technique for the guitar is up on your fingertips. But for a bar chord, you want it flat. So try that with just 2 strings first. And again, your thumb is still on the back of the neck, just like always, about the middle of the neck. You don't want it sticking out to the side or something. It should be basically right behind that index finger. Try moving that around, trying to get a good sound. You want to be able to play that up and down the guitar. Then try it with 3 strings. Now, we're going to do it with 4 strings as well. There's a technique I want to show you here. You have the fleshy part of your finger here, and then you also have the outside, the bony part of your finger. You want to be, when you're playing bar chords, mostly on the bony part of your finger. So the way you learn to do that is by positioning your elbow a little bit different here. So what I'm doing here, in order to change the position of my finger on the guitar, I'm actually changing the position of my elbow a little bit. Okay, see my elbow going in and out? So if I want to be more on the bony part, the outside of my finger, I just bring my elbow in, and see now that I'm on the outside part of my finger, the bony part, the part, by my thumb. So that's the first thing, is you want to be able to bring that elbow in. It's going to change depending on where you're playing up and down the guitar. Okay, the easiest place to play bar chords on the guitar, by the way, is in like the middle of the guitar as opposed to up here. Up here, the strings are much tighter, so it's much more difficult. So that's why I say practice it first in the middle. Okay, watch this position on the elbow again. So normally you're going to probably have, when you're playing the guitar, you're going to have your elbow, I don't know, it looks like my elbow's about out 6 inches or so. But again, depending on what I'm doing for bar chords, I might move that elbow all the way in by my body so I can get on the outside there. Okay? So that's the way you practice. You start out by practicing on 2 strings, then maybe 3, then try 4, eventually 5, then 6. You want to get a clean sound. You want to stay close to the fret but not on the fret. The other thing I should point out here, rather than gripping the guitar, you know, like a vise or something, you want to do what they call, what I've heard it called, the heavy arm. In other words, if you need more pressure on the strings, instead of squeezing, again like a vise, pull back with your elbow to get more pressure on the strings. Just pull back. That's better than squeezing so hard. Bar chords take a lot of practice. A lot of guitarists feel very frustrated at first with bar chords, but start in the middle of the guitar, start with 2 strings at a time. Pay attention to what I said about the position of the finger. That's how you develop the ability to play a bar up and down the guitar. This lesson wouldn't be complete unless I gave you something you could actually use. So the next thing I'm going to show you is an F minor shaped bar chord that you can use up and down the neck. One song that comes to mind you could use this on is Hey There Delilah by the Plain White T's. A lot of people are familiar with that song. A lot of people are wanting to learn that song. So anyway, this is a good one to get started on because it's a fairly easy bar chord. Again, we're going to learn to play this fairly high in the neck, at least initially. Let's start on the 5th fret. We're just going to use 3 strings for this. 1, 2, and 3. Make sure you got a good sound there. Now you're going to add your ring finger on the 4th string, 7th fret. So notice there's a fret right in between that's open there. That's a minor chord. Now, if I move it all the way down to the 1st fret, which you may not be able to do in the very beginning, which is okay. Okay, that's F minor. Here's F sharp minor. G minor. G sharp. A minor. So you want to learn to play that up all the way up and down the neck. You will reach a limit, by the way, when you get on the very high parts of the neck where it just doesn't work. And that's why it's good to know different chord shapes depending on what you're doing. But that one will get you started. And again, there's several tunes you can use that on. I hope you've enjoyed this lesson, found it helpful, and if so, please like the video, and if you haven't done so, please subscribe to the channel. And we'll see you next time.